The girl in chains. The night sky above the ruined prison planet was dark and full of smoke. Old towers stood like broken bones, and the ground was covered in ash. Jack Rayner, a human mercenary, walked silently through the shadows. His black jacket was torn, and his boots were muddy. He held a plasma rifle in his hands, ready for anything. Jack had come here for a job, rescue a missing team of scientists. But what he found instead was something he never expected. As he moved deeper into the ruins, he heard something. Soft sound. Crying. Jack stopped. He crouched low and listened carefully. The sound was coming from behind a metal wall, cracked and glowing with green alien light. Slowly he pushed through, stepping over fallen wires and broken bones. Inside the room it was quiet. Too quiet. And cold. Then he saw her. In the center of the room was a cage. Round, high-tech, with humming energy fields. Inside the cage sat a young alien girl. Her skin was pale violet, her eyes glowing blue like twin moons. She looked no older than 12. Her wrists were chained to the floor with glowing cuffs, and her body was thin and bruised. Jack's heart tightened. The girl looked up. When her eyes met Jack's, she flinched, like she was used to being hit. She didn't speak. She just stared, silently begging for help. "Hey," Jack said softly, lowering his weapon. "I'm not here to hurt you." She didn't answer. He stepped closer. "Who did this to you?" Still no answer. But her lips trembled. Jack looked around. The cage was powered by an alien core he didn't recognize. The walls were covered in strange symbols. It looked ancient, but also advanced. Then Jack saw the symbol on her collar, a mark he remembered from the bounty boards. Class Omega Bioform, do not approach. Extremely dangerous. Jack blinked. Dangerous? She looked weak, helpless. But something was off. The girl's blood. A strange blue liquid was dripping from a cut on her arm, and it sparkled like starlight. Suddenly a voice came through Jack's comlink. "Jack, get out of there, you're not alone. Heat signatures, closing fast." Too late, a red alarm began flashing above the cage. The wall shook. Footsteps echoed outside, heavy ones. Jack looked back at the girl. Her lips moved. One word. He barely heard it. "Please." Without thinking, he raised his rifle and blasted the lock. The cage opened with a scream of metal. Jack rushed inside and cut her chains with his plasma knife. The moment her arms were free, she collapsed into his chest, too weak to stand. Jack picked her up. "You're coming with me." He ran. Behind him, the doors exploded. 3 alien bounty hunters stepped in, firing lasers. Jack ducked, covering the girl with his body. A beam hit his shoulder, burning through armor and flesh. He screamed in pain but didn't stop. Another hit his back, then his leg. He fell, but didn't let go of the girl. She looked up. Her eyes were glowing bright now. A tear rolled down her cheek and landed on his wound. The pain vanished. Jack stared in shock as his flesh healed before his eyes. The burn marks disappeared. The blood dried. "What are you?" he whispered. The girl didn't answer. She just looked scared. Jack stood up again, stronger now, and ran with all his strength toward his ship. Shots flew past him, burning the walls and ground, but he didn't stop. He made it to the hangar bay, slammed his fist on the control panel, and the doors shut behind them. Inside the ship, alarms blared. Jack dropped into the pilot's seat, breathing hard. The girl sat beside him, hugging her knees, silent and shaking. Jack flew the ship into the sky. The bounty hunters followed, but he lost them in the asteroid belt, safe. For now. He looked at the girl again. She stared at the stars through the window. Jack reached for a blanket and wrapped it around her. "What's your name?" she finally whispered. "Sarah." Jack nodded. "I'm Jack. You're safe now." But deep down, he knew something big had started. This girl wasn't just an escaped prisoner. She was something powerful, something others would kill for. and he had just made himself their target. Escape through fire. The smell of burning metal filled the air. Red warning lights flashed across the walls of Jack's ship, and alarms screamed in his ears. But Jack didn't hear them. He was staring at the girl, Sarah. She had just healed him. His wounds were gone. The laser burns that should have killed him vanished like they were never there. Her glowing blue tear had touched his skin, and everything changed. Sarah was no normal alien. She was something the galaxy had never seen before. Jack's hands shook as he grabbed the flight controls. Behind them, enemy ships roared through space, firing bright plasma bolts that lit up the sky. One blast hit the rear shields. The ship jolted. Sarah screamed and held onto the seat. "Don't worry," Jack shouted. "We'll make it." Pushed the ship into hyperspeed, flying through the asteroid belt. But the bounty hunters were faster. Two of them zipped beside his ship, locking on with weapons. "Damn it," Jack muttered. "They're not letting go." He opened the weapon panel and fired back. Two sharp blasts that hit one enemy ship straight in the engines. It spun out of control and crashed into an asteroid, exploding into fire. But the other ship was still there, and it wasn't firing. It was waiting. Suddenly, a voice crackled over the comm system. Cold. Robotic. "Surrender the girl, human. She is a threat to the galaxy. Hand her over, and you may live." Sarah looked at Jack with wide, terrified eyes. She shook her head, silently pleading. Jack narrowed his eyes. Not a chance. He fired. The enemy ship dodged and launched a plasma missile in return. Jack barely managed to steer the ship aside, but the explosion rocked the side of the hull. Sparks flew across the control panel. Fire spread near the back of the cockpit. Jack jumped up, grabbed a fire suppressant, and sprayed the flames, but more systems were failing. Then Sarah did something strange. She stood up and walked toward the burning wires. "No, Sarah, stop!" Jack called out. But she didn't listen. She reached out with her small hands, eyes glowing brighter than ever. Her skin shimmered. The fire calmed, then died. And in front of Jack's eyes, the broken systems lit up again. She had healed the ship. Jack stared. "What are you?" Sarah turned to him slowly. Her voice was soft, almost too quiet to hear. "My people. They called me a mistake." She looked down. "My blood can heal. My tears fix what is broken. But they feared me. Said I was dangerous. That I'd bring chaos. So they locked me away." Jack's heart ached. He had seen cruelty before, but never like this. To lock up a child for something beautiful? "You're not dangerous," he said. "You're special." Sarah's eyes shimmered again. No one had ever said that to her before. Just then another blast rocked the ship. The second bounty hunter was still chasing them. Jack gritted his teeth and made a sharp dive into a nearby planet's atmosphere. The ship screamed as it broke through the clouds, fire trailing behind. Inside, heat spread across the walls. The controls began to melt. "We're going to crash," Jack yelled. Sarah didn't panic. She grabbed his hand. Her touch sent a strange calm through his body. The ship hit the ground hard. Dirt and debris flew everywhere. Trees snapped. Rocks exploded under the weight of the ship. Then silence. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then Jack groaned and sat up, blood dripping from his forehead. "Still alive." He turned to Sarah. She was unconscious. "No, no, no." Jack unbuckled his seat and rushed to her. "Come on, kid, don't do this." He held her close. Her skin was cold. Her glow had faded. Tears filled Jack's eyes. "Please stay with me." And then, just like before, a soft light began to return. Her chest rose, her lips moved. "Jack, are we safe?" He laughed with relief. "Yeah, we are now." Outside, the bounty hunter's ship hovered overhead. They had found them. Jack grabbed his weapon and stood in front of Sarah. "I won't let them take you." Sarah sat up slowly. "You can't fight alone." "I'm not," Jack said. "I've got you." Together, They prepared for the final stand. But what happened next? No one in the galaxy could have expected. The truth about her blood. The smoke from the crash still rose into the sky. Ash floated in the air like snow. Jack stood outside the wrecked ship, holding his rifle tightly, eyes locked on the sky. No sign of the bounty hunter ship, not yet. Inside the ship, Sarah was quiet. She sat on a small seat, legs pulled to her chest, glowing blue eyes staring into the shadows. Jack stepped in slowly, covered in dirt and sweat. His shoulder was bleeding again. He didn't care. He only cared about the strange, quiet girl who had saved him twice, once from death and once from fire. But questions were burning in his mind. Who was she really? Why were entire fleets hunting her? And how could one child hold such impossible power? Jack crouched beside her. "Sarah," he said gently, "I need to understand. What's going on? What's in your blood that makes them fear you?" Sarah didn't answer at first. She looked at her hands, small, glowing faintly, trembling. She seemed afraid of her own skin. Then, in a voice that didn't sound like a child's, she spoke. "My blood was never meant to exist." Jack frowned. "What do you mean?" She looked up at him. "My mother was a healer," she said softly. "My father, a warrior. From two different species. They were not allowed to love. It was forbidden. But they did." She paused, eyes wet. "When I was born, I wasn't like them. My body had energy inside it. It could fix anything, heal anything. Machines, flesh, even memories." Jack leaned in. "Memories?" She nodded. "I can touch someone's pain and take it away. But when the High Council learned about me, they called me unnatural, a danger to order." Her voice cracked. "They said I could break the laws of life." Jack sat back, stunned. "So, they locked you away?" Sarah nodded. "In chains, for years. No one spoke to me. No one touched me. I thought I was broken." Jack's heart pounded. A child, cursed for being born, for being different. He looked at her glowing tears and saw not a weapon, but a miracle, and the galaxy wanted her destroyed. Suddenly the ground shook. Jack stood, weapon ready. The ship's scanner flashed red. "Incoming. Multiple heat signatures, 10 units. "They found us," he muttered. Sarah stood too, slower, still weak. "Jack, I can help." "No," Jack said quickly. "You've done enough. If they see what you can do again, they'll never stop. But they'll kill you." Jack looked her in the eyes. "Let them try." He stepped out of the ship into the forest clearing, where the enemy was landing. Dark ships opened, and armored bounty hunters marched forward with glowing weapons. One stepped ahead, taller, wearing gold armor. "Hand over the girl," he called out. "Her existence is a threat to all life. You will be spared if you obey." Jack didn't move. "You're too late. I know what she is now, and I'm not giving her up." The bounty leader raised a hand. "Then you die." 10 rifles pointed at Jack. He closed his eyes. A high-pitched sound echoed, but it wasn't from weapons. It came from behind him. Sarah stepped forward, her body glowing brighter than ever. Her hair floated upward, her feet lifted off the ground. The light from her skin lit the entire forest. She raised her hands, and every blaster weapon sparked and melted. Gasps filled the air. The bounty hunters dropped their guns, stunned. Jack turned, eyes wide. "Sarah," she floated down slowly, glowing tears falling from her eyes. "I don't want to hurt anyone," she said, "but I won't let you take me back." One of the hunters fell to his knees, whispering, "She's an ancient light," the leader hissed. "You fool, that's a myth." "No," Jack said. "She's real, and if the galaxy wants to destroy something this pure—" He raised his rifle again. "Then the galaxy is wrong." The bounty team retreated, afraid now, not of Jack, but of the truth. Sarah wasn't a weapon, she was a cure. And that truth would change everything. The bounty hunter's return rain poured from the purple sky. Thunder rolled like war drums. Lightning danced across the forest, lighting up twisted trees and sharp rocks. Jack Rayner stood just inside a cave entrance, watching the storm. His hand rested on the grip of his rifle. His eyes never stopped moving. He didn't trust silence anymore. Behind him, Sarah sat near a small fire. Her glowing hands warmed the wet wood, turning it into soft flames. She looked peaceful, but Jack knew better now. That peaceful face held a power that frightened empires. It had been 2 days since they escaped the last attack, 2 days of hiding, running, barely surviving. Jack had fixed what he could on his damaged ship, but it wouldn't fly again without new parts. And he couldn't go to any city. Every bounty board in the sector had his face now, with a red alert. Wanted human. Traitor protecting forbidden bioform. They weren't just hunting Sarah anymore. They were hunting him too. Jack turned and looked at her. She was playing with a small crystal from the cave floor. It floated in her hand, spinning gently, glowing blue like her eyes. "You should rest," Jack said. "I'm not tired," she whispered. "You haven't slept in 2 nights. She looked at him. "Neither have you." Jack smiled faintly. "I've had worse." A moment of quiet passed. Then, Sarah's head snapped up. The crystal in her hand cracked. Jack froze. "What is it?" She stood. "They're here." The rain outside stopped, too suddenly. Then came a low humming sound. Not thunder. Engines. From above the tree line, dark shadows began to descend. Jack ran out into the open, squinting at the sky. 6 dropships. Heavy class. Not bounty hunters this time. Military. "Damn it," he muttered. He ran back inside. "We have to move." Sarah followed without question. They rushed deeper into the cave system. Jack's flashlight lit the walls, old carvings from a long-dead alien race, warning of light-born children who could destroy stars or save them. Sarah paused to look. "They knew about me, long before I was born." "No time for that," Jack said. "We need cover." Far above, armored boots hit the forest floor. Soldiers spread out, weapons glowing. They weren't here to capture anymore. They were here to end it. Inside the cave, Jack and Sarah reached an ancient door, a relic of something older than any starship. It slid open when Sarah touched it, like it remembered her. Beyond the door was a forgotten chamber. And in the center, a machine, not alien, not human, something else. Sarah stepped forward, eyes wide. "I've seen this in dreams." Jack looked at the machine. It pulsed with soft light. "What is it?" "A memory vault," she whispered. "My mother spoke of it before they took her." Jack moved cautiously. "Can it help us escape?" Sarah didn't answer. She walked up to it and placed her hand on the core. Light exploded. Jack fell back, covering his eyes. Sarah's body lifted off the ground. Her hair spread like a halo. Images swirled around her, memories not just hers but from other lives. People who looked like her. Ancient beings of light, hiding, running, dying. Jack watched in awe. Then the vault spoke in an ancient voice. "The light-born child has awakened. The bond is complete. The guardian must now choose, protect the flame, or burn with it." The light faded. Sarah dropped to the floor. Jack caught her before she hit the ground. She looked into his eyes. "They're not coming for me anymore." Jack swallowed. "Then who?" Sarah's voice trembled. "They're coming for you." Suddenly, boom! The cave shook. Explosives had blown the outer wall. Soldiers stormed in, weapons raised. Jack turned to shield Sarah. But Sarah stepped in front of him. Her voice rang out like thunder. "Stop." The soldiers froze. One by one, their weapons failed. Power cells drained. Helmets cracked. The leader tried to shoot, but his arm twisted unnaturally. Not broken, just stopped. "Leave us," Sarah said, "or face what you fear." The soldiers ran, not because of power, but because of something deeper. Truth. Sarah collapsed again. Jack caught her. He looked around the chamber, heart pounding. "She's not a weapon," he whispered. "She's a message, and someone out there didn't want that message heard." A place called Sanctuary, the desert moon hung low in the blood-red sky. Beneath it, a rusted shuttle broke through the clouds, flying just above jagged cliffs and silent canyons. Inside, Jack Rayner sat beside Sarah, watching over her fragile frame as she lay on a medical bed, eyes closed, lips pale. She hadn't woken since the memory vault. Her glow was dim now. Jack didn't speak. He just flew. They were heading to the only place left. A shadow from his past. A place no map showed. A place even the strongest feared to enter. Sanctuary. Not a planet. A person. 4 hours later, the shuttle touched down on a floating platform in the middle of a cracked canyon filled with old wreckage and metal bones. Jack carried Sarah down the ramp, past scanning lights and auto turrets aimed at his head. A robotic voice spoke. "State your name and reason for entering Restricted Zone 7. Jack didn't stop walking. "Tell her it's Jack Rayner. I brought a girl, and a problem too big for the stars to handle." A long silence. Then the gates opened. Behind them stood a woman. Tall, sharp eyes, gray hair, a scar across her left cheek. Dr. Myla Vex, an ex-military geneticist turned outlaw. She had once saved Jack's life, and once nearly ended it. Her eyes narrowed as she saw Sarah. "Is that what I think it is?" Jack nodded. "She's not a thing. Her name is Sarah, and she saved me more than once." Vex stepped closer, examining the girl. "She's draining fast. Her power, it's tearing her apart." Jack's jaw tightened. "Can you help her?" Vex didn't answer. She turned and walked toward the large dome-shaped lab behind her. "Bring her in," she finally said, "before it's too late." Inside, the lab was cold and full of humming machines. Screens showed star maps, genetic codes, old bounty reports. Jack laid Sarah gently on a diagnostic bed. Vex tapped at the controls. "What is she?" she asked. "Her cells are rewriting themselves every second, healing, adapting, even absorbing energy." "She's lightborn," Jack said softly. Vex froze. "That's just a myth." Jack looked her in the eyes. "Not anymore." For the first time, Vex looked afraid. "She could change everything," she whispered. "I know." "That's why they'll kill her." Jack stepped forward. "That's why I need you to keep her alive." Vex sighed. "It won't be easy, but I'll try." As machines wrapped Sarah in a glowing field of energy, Jack stepped back. He hadn't slept in days. His body ached, but he couldn't leave her side. Not now. Not ever. Hours passed. Outside, desert winds screamed across the cliffs. Inside, Jack sat silently beside the bed while Vex worked at her station, scanning Sarah's readings. Suddenly, Sarah stirred. Her eyes fluttered open. Jack rushed to her side. "Sarah, you're awake." She smiled weakly. "Where are we?" "Safe. For now." Sarah looked at the strange machines. "She's like me. The woman. She hides pain." Jack smiled. "You see everything, don't you?" Before she could answer, alarms began to scream. Vex stood. "We're not alone." Screens lit up. Multiple ships entering atmosphere. Not bounty hunters. Something worse. Inquisition ships. Elite death squads. From the High Council. Jack's heart dropped. "They found us again?" Vex turned to him. "I told you this girl is a galactic threat. They'll burn this entire canyon just to erase her." Jack stood. "Then we don't let them get close." Sarah sat up slowly. "I'll help." "No." Jack said firmly. You're still weak. But I'm not alone anymore, she said. Jack looked into her eyes. There was no fear left in them now, only fire. Outside, black ships rained from the sky like falling daggers. Soldiers in silver armor spread through the canyon, weapons charged, orders clear. Capture the Lightborn, eliminate all witnesses. But as they marched forward, the wind began to shift. The skies above turned bright. A wave of golden light rose from the lab dome. From Sarah. The Inquisition paused. The soldiers looked up in awe. Inside, Jack held Sarah's hand. "What are you doing?" he asked. She smiled faintly, giving them a reason to stop. And just like that, every machine in the enemy camp shut down. Ships stalled midair. Guns melted like wax. Then, silence. Dr. Vex whispered, "She's not a weapon. She's evolution. The POW, rescue and the sacrifice. There are moments in the galaxy when time stands still, when stars seem to hold their breath. This was one of those moments. From the top of the canyon cliffs, the High Council's Inquisition commander watched his soldiers freeze in place. Their weapons had turned cold in their hands, their warships silent. The enemy was a child glowing with the light of ancient creation. "She's not a target anymore," he whispered. "She's a force of nature. But fear doesn't listen to logic, and power never goes unchallenged." That night, war came in silence. Back in the lab, Sarah stood beside Jack, her body weak but her spirit burning. She had shut down an army with a single thought, but Jack saw something no one else could see: the cost. Her glow flickered now. Her breath was shallow. The more she used her gift, the more it drained her life. Dr. Vex spoke sharply, her fingers flying over the control panel. "She's destabilizing. Her cells are collapsing. Her energy field is feeding on itself." Jack stepped forward. "Can you fix it?" Vex hesitated. "There's one way. An ancient fusion chamber buried below the lab. It was meant to power ships, but it could restore her core, maybe. Then we do it." "There's a problem," Vex said. "It needs a living spark. A person to link their life force to hers. A one-way transfer." Jack froze. "You mean someone has to give their life to save her?" "Yes." A heavy silence filled the room. Sarah's small voice broke it. "No." Jack turned to her. "You saved me," she said. "I won't let you die for me," Jack smiled sadly. "You gave me life, Sarah. Let me give it back." She shook her head, tears falling. "You're all I have." He touched her cheek gently. "And you're the only hope the galaxy has left." She grabbed his hand, holding it tight. But Jack had already decided. He turned to Vex. "Take me to the chamber." The room beneath the lab was ancient and cold. A giant crystal core floated in the center, humming softly. It had not been used in centuries. Dust coated the machines. Lights flickered like dying stars. Vex prepared the interface. Jack stepped into the chamber, one hand still holding Sarah's. "You're not alone anymore," she whispered. Jack smiled. "I never was. Not since I found you." He looked at Vex. "Do it!" Sarah screamed. "No!" The machine lit up. Cables wrapped around Jack's arms. His body lifted into the air, surrounded by white light. Sarah reached out, struggling, but her legs gave out. She collapsed. Vex knelt beside her. "It's the only way. He's choosing this." "No," Sarah sobbed. "I won't let him go." Then something happened. Her tears touched the floor, and the machine responded. The light turned blue. The fusion reversed. Jack's body dropped, but he was still breathing. Sarah was standing, glowing brighter than ever before. "I won't take his life," she said. "We'll share it." The machine roared. The light spread beyond the chamber, through the lab, the canyon, and the sky. Every soldier looked up as a beam of blue energy lit the heavens and vanished. Jack opened his eyes. He was alive. Sarah knelt beside him, her face glowing with peace. "Jack," she whispered. "We're linked now." He sat up slowly. "What did you do?" "I gave you part of me. And I took only what I needed. Not everything. Just enough." Vex stepped forward, stunned. "It was supposed to drain you completely." "I'm not just Lightborn," Sarah said softly. "I'm something new." Jack reached for her hand, squeezing it gently. "You've changed the rules." Sarah nodded. "And now, they'll never stop chasing us." Jack looked toward the sky. "Then let's make them run instead." Outside, the Inquisition forces gathered again. Guns back online, warships powered. But when they fired at the lab, the beams stopped mid-air. Dome of light protected it. Sarah floated above the roof, glowing like a new sun. "You came to destroy me," her voice rang out across the canyon. "But I forgive you. I am not your weapon. I am not your enemy. I am your future." And with a wave of her hand, every weapon turned to ash. Then she descended into Jack's arms. The lab was quiet again, but nothing would ever be the same, because now the galaxy knew. The girl they tried to chain had become the force that set it free. What she became, galaxies heal slowly. Long after the warships vanished and the soldiers returned to their masters in silence, rumors spread like wildfire. Stories passed from planet to planet, system to system, not of destruction, but of mercy. They spoke of a girl who glowed like starlight, who could stop armies with a whisper, and who chose forgiveness over fire. They called her many names: the Lightborn, the Healer Child, the Star's Daughter. But to one man, she was just Sarah. 3 months later, far from any mapped star route, a small farming village stood at the edge of a quiet moon. No towers, no satellites, just simple life and peace. Children ran through tall red grass. Alien mothers hung laundry under orange skies. And in a wooden house at the edge of the village, a small garden glowed in the moonlight. There, Jack Rayner sat on the porch, older, wiser, his scars faded, but his soul fuller. Inside the house, laughter echoed. Sarah was teaching 3 alien children how to float rocks using their thoughts. The pebbles danced in the air, spinning slowly as the children giggled and clapped. Sarah smiled, not just with her lips, but with her whole being. Her glow was soft now, peaceful, no longer wild or unstable. It pulsed like a heartbeat, alive, calm, and in control. Jack stepped inside. "You're showing off again." The kids ran to him. "Uncle Jack, she made the plants grow." He chuckled. "Did she now?" Sarah winked at him. They asked nicely. The children left soon after, running home as the moons rose. Jack and Sarah sat near the window, watching the stars blink to life in the dark sky. "They still talk about you," Jack said. "In every system, you're becoming legend." Sarah looked down. "I don't want to be legend, I just want to help." "You already are." Sarah's eyes filled with quiet thoughts. "I see their pain, even from across space. I feel it like a song in the wind. There's so much sorrow still." Jack nodded. "But now they know there's hope." She leaned her head on his shoulder. "You gave me that." He looked at her. "You gave it back." A soft beep came from a small device. On the table, Vex's voice came through the communicator. "Jack, Sarah, you should see this." He picked it up. "What is it?" "The High Council just issued a galactic order, not for your arrest, but for peace. They're asking for help." Jack raised his eyebrows. "They want the girl, in chains, to lead the healing." Sarah closed her eyes. "They still fear me." "Maybe," Jack said. "But they're listening now." Sarah stood and walked outside. She looked up at the sky and raised her hands. Her fingers glowed. And somewhere far away, a sick child on a mining colony took their first healthy breath in years. Across the galaxy, small sparks of healing began. Rivers unpoisoned, skies cleared, old wounds faded. She was already helping. Not by command, but by choice. That night, Jack sat at the table writing in an old journal. Sarah peeked over his shoulder. "What's that?" "A story," Jack said. "About a broken man who met a girl in chains and how she saved him and everything else." Sarah smiled. "Sounds like fiction." Jack smirked. "The best stories usually are." She sat down beside him, quiet for a moment. "Jack," she said, "do you think I'll ever be normal?" Jack closed the book. "No," he said. Her face fell a little. "But that's a good thing." She looked at him. "You weren't born to fit into this galaxy, Sarah. You were born to fix it." As dawn rose, casting soft gold light over the quiet moon, Sarah stepped into the garden. Flowers bloomed behind her footsteps. Birds chirped songs never heard before. And for the first time since she had been locked in a cage, she felt free, not just safe. Free. Jack watched her from the porch. She turned, eyes glowing like twin stars. "Come on," she said. "There's more work to do." Jack stood. "Then let's change the galaxy." Together, they walked toward the horizon. The man who risked his life for a child no one wanted. And the girl who became the hope no one expected.